Good evening, and welcome to the Protective Services Committee meeting for today, June 18th, 2024. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Legislative Council Fiola, can you lead us, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Adnesio,
Present.
Legislator Sage, and Chairwoman Nasarino.
Present. Agenda item number 3 is a motion to accept the Protective Services meeting minutes for May 21st, 2024. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Moving on to agenda item number 4 is approval budgetary amendment 24A050, a reimbursement from Farmers Casualty Insurance and Allstate Insurance Companies. Is Matt Bruno here to speak about this? I don't see him. In any event, this is pretty straightforward. It's insurance money that has come into the Sheriff Department. We have an insurance check for $23,435.01 from Allstate and for Sheriff's Patrol and Sheriff's BCI insurance recoveries in the amount of $1,044.95, and Sheriff's Narcotics another check for $1,827.76 for three, for a total amount of $26,307.72, and that has been appropriated accordingly. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Agenda item number 5 is approval budgetary amendment 24A053, required to adjust federal aid allocated for Stop DWI HVEC High Visibility Engagement Campaign. And we have here with us tonight our Director of Probation, John Osterhout. Please come forward. There you are. Hi.
Hello. I'm not sure if you have any questions for me about this, but
It's always nice to see you, John.
it's nice to be here.
This is incoming money in addition to the money that was already allocated in the amount of $24,000 during the grant cycle of October 1st through September 2023 through September 30th, 2024. So there's an additional $7,500 which has been sent to the county for this, correct?
Actually, it's not sent to the county yet. It will be sent as we expend the funds. We arrange for extra patrols for DWI patrols, and as the police agencies do that, then we reimburse them to these grant funds.
Okay. Do you want to talk a little bit about the High Visibility Engagement Campaign, just for the record?
Sure. So every year we get a grant through Stop DWI Foundation. It's a statewide grant, and it's allocated to the counties based on their population size and what they used last year. We were glad to get a little bit extra this year, $24,000, but we've already come very close to expending that $24,000, and we're not to the end of the grant cycle in September yet. So I asked for another $10,000. I got $7,500. Hopefully that'll allow us to put some extra patrols out this summer. I'll be working with Carmel Police, Kent Police Department, and also our Sheriff's Department to do those extra patrols.
Perfect. Any questions on the committee? Any questions from any legislators? Any questions from the public? There being none, I would like to make a motion to approve budgetary amendment 24A053.
Second.
So moved. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, John. Thanks for
Thank you
coming
so
in.
much.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Agenda item number 6 is approval budgetary number 24A054, use of federally seized asset forfeiture funds to purchase computers for the Bureau of Criminal Investigation Digital Evidence Lab. And we have here with us tonight Captain Shepley, Welcome.
Good evening.
How are you?
Just fine.
Uh,
So item 6, our computer labs for our digital evidence lab. That's where Tunny and John Hyla, they do all their pornography and child pornography issues up there, and their machines are overwhelmed. They're huge, and they really need to be replaced desperately. There's a lot of storage issues with that room, which is sealed off from the rest of the department.
So this is the request for the proceeds in the amount of $74,712.33.
Correct.
And I'm sure everybody in this room is aware, but for those who are not, this is not using taxpayer dollars for this purchase.
That's correct. This is a portion of the money that the Sheriff's Department recently received from seized assets in a narcotic case going back several years ago.
Okay, thank you. Don't move though, we still have more. Any questions or comments from the committee? Any questions? Commissioner Elmer?
I just noticed, like you said, the storage here, you're having 8, 12 terabyte hard drives and a RAID controller. Wow.
I didn't know they made computers that big, to be honest with you.
Huge.
Any other questions? Okay, I'd like to make a motion to move this forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 7 is approval amendment 24A055. It's again the use of federally seized asset forfeiture funds to purchase crime scene camera equipment and laser scanner for the Bureau of Criminal Investigation. And this is in the amount of $100,379.07.
And what the sheriff's looking to purchase here is a piece of equipment called Faro. It is, you can have it on a stick, and it rotates, and it will diagram and plot out evidence scenes, outdoor, indoors. You don't have to go and measure and do all the diagramming. When it's finished, it would actually let you walk through the room and turn and see what from different angles. So it's going to go to our crime scene unit, and there'll also be a handheld item with it, which we can map out rooms, how they all are situated, and actually put it into some of our evidentiary documents, so it recreates the room and the evidence in it.
So it's actually 3D model that you're
Correct.
looking to purchase. Pretty amazing technology.
If you've seen any of the fatal accidents the state police come and help us on, they bring that out to do their accident. They don't take measurements anymore. They just plot this in different places, and it gets generated.
That's great.
Legislator Arnese.
Thank you. Is there special training to use the Faro 360?
There will be some. It's not overly technical. It's just knowing its capabilities. But that's why it'll be specific to the investigators assigned in the crime scene unit.
Okay.
Legislator Crowley?
I also had that question, so
Oh,
thank you
okay.
very much, but I have one more. Are we reinstating the accident reconstruction unit as well? Because you just referred to using it on an accident.
We haven't done that. That'd be a lot of funding, and we need the interested personnel. We reactivated the weight unit, the scales unit this year, but not the accident reconstruction.
So we would be using this for accident reconstruction?
Well, the
Not yet.
state police could use it for ours, but we're not anticipating using it at fatal accidents because they come out and generate the entire report. It then goes to Albany and is reviewed, so when their fatal reports come back, we have peer reviews with it. So we're using them to do our serious fatals.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
question.
Legislator Putnam?
It says that the remote camera system for use in criminal narcotics investigation, it includes the licensing fees. So is that yearly licensing fees, or are we gonna see a fee next year for this? Includes what licensing fees? I would imagine that there's some kind of annual licensing fee as you have with all of these systems.
So it does say licensing there. I'm not really certain. I'm not going to give you an incorrect answer.
Sure.
I can
If you could let us
get
know.
an answer. I wouldn't be surprised there's a licensing
Every year.
carrying forward.
I love that this is being used for narcotics investigations. I think it, if there's one frustration that people have when they lose a loved one to the opioid epidemic is that they never seem to be able to catch the drug dealer.
So are you on the next one, the narcotic page? or
Oh.
the-
No, we're not on that yet.
Not yet.
We're on 7?
We're on 7.
This is included with 7. It
Oh,
says
okay.
that it's going to be used in criminal narcotics investigations on page 1, 2, 3. And it also says that the purchase of this equipment is to provide greater investigation and prosecution of narcotics
Well,
involved investigations.
as I say, it will
We're on
map.
7. You're right.
It will map any crime scene, any scene we want to capture, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So we expect to use it frequently and often.
Okay, so there is an allocation for $5,500 for the licensing fees, and if you could get that information
Yep.
to us before audit, that would be great.
Okay.
Legislative crowd, oh,
It says on
3 year,
page
3
3,
year license.
the license,
oh, okay,
September 23 to September 26.
okay, so, Captain Chevrolet, did you hear that? It's
I
3
did.
years, okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. September 22, 26, so in 2027 we'll see more people. Okay, thank you.
Legislative crowd?
And I just have one more question about, is there a procedure that we have to put into place for how long we have to store this once we're using this system, and how long, if it's used on an active investigation, how long we have to keep this evidence for?
Well, that's dependent on the investigation and what the use is. I mean, if we have mapped a crime scene, it's an ongoing case, it's going to stay. And if it's a prosecution, sometimes we have to hold it for years afterwards.
So how do we know what the procedure would be to keep that footage for, like, how do we appropriately have that answered?
We have digital evidence secured now in our lab, or in our evidence security areas. So we secured Axon body-worn cameras now. So we store a lot of digital. I'm sure that's addressed here. This is just the ability to create and utilize the...
So there will be a procedure, because I understand we've gone over the procedure with all the other cameras before, like the bus cameras, the body-worn cameras, how long to store those things.
Retention.
Yeah, the retention. So that's an important question that I think we should have and have
Okay.
answered.
Okay, we'll find out.
I mean, we can do that, but, a lot of our retention is set by what was it used for. I mean, even when we have convictions, we have to hang on to evidence for a considerable time for, appeals. So we do have policies talking about, we have a retention schedule in our rules and regs that the ID unit refers to when they set evidence into the evidence room.
Right, I think that's what maybe I'm asking for is to see that policy, because we've always seen it with all the other equipment that we've stored any sort of evidence before, and always seen the policy. So if there's one that's differentiating, maybe it would be nice to see it if we're purchasing this for
Well,
100,
it's either,
103.
it might be under the umbrella of the retention schedule, so we'll find that. We'll
Yeah,
confirm that one
thank
way or
you.
the other. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve budgetary amendment 24A055. Do you have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 8 is approval budgetary amendment 24A056 is the use of federal federally seized asset forfeiture funds again for the purchase of cameras and accessories, this time for the narcotics division. And this is in the amount of $16,291 for cameras and accessories to enhance investigation and aid in prosecution of narcotics-related cases.
Correct. These are, this is to provide the narcotic unit the opportunity to install pole cameras at locations that they're going to temporarily put them up to see what is going on. And it's a tactic, it's a tool frequently used. We are trying to add one.
Any questions or comments?
The backup for 7 is the same as the backup for 8,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that's,
Two different departments.
okay. So they're 2 different departments, but the same thing?
Looks that way, narcotics and PCI.
Chairman,
Legislator Elmer?
just have a general question.
Yes.
Now, with all the storage and all these cameras, are we gonna create a situation where now there's gonna be much more review by the prosecutors when handling this? Because I know the body cameras have, it's great to have the body cameras, but now a traffic stop creates hours of work for the
It does.
DA. So how do you foresee this is gonna impact?
A lot of the camera, a lot of the footage on the pole camera is irrelevant. They would capture portions they deem to be relevant and save that. They're not going to save all the footage off the pole cameras. The other ones that are in, that we were purchasing for the $74,000, they've got significant storage up in that third floor of the sheriff's department to store all that, images and things that they have up there. So I think that we are good. We've got our Axon body-worn cameras addressed over a period of time. The storage is set, it'll hold it, and then what we don't need will ultimately disappear. So that's done in consultation with the district attorney, what's relevant, what's get turned over to the defense attorneys, and some of those get held longer, but we do have a rather extensive protocol to address all of that. And that's why it's done specifically through the crime scene unit pulling all that together.
Thank you.
Legislator Crowell?
I think, again, we're going back to protocol and procedure, like we're financing all these things off of the basis of, most of it is invaluable or going to be nonsense, but some of it is going to be valuable. I'd like to see the procedure, I'd like to see the policy before we're dumping all this money in there, and I'd also like to hear from the DA's office to hear how it impacts them too, to go off of Legislator Elner's question, because their laws that they have now, the discovery is much shorter. They're putting away a lot less people because of that, and if you're able to capture this, is there a certain unit that's just going over footage from all these different cameras all day long, because there's so many different cameras, so much footage, we're adding a lot of work to you guys.
When we make an arrest, we attach not only the written report, any documented written documentation we create, and we attach not only our body-worn camera, but our in-car cameras. It goes right to the DAs electronically. They then view it online.
So I guess I think I'd like to hear from the DA's office to hear that if it's going to be impactful or not, because if the DA is the one that's reviewing it, right? So that would be the one to answer your question. Does that make sense?
We could
It's a
certainly reach out to
combination.
him, but, this aids in the investigation,
I
doesn't
agree.
hinder.
Oh, no, I agree
Oh, no,
with it. I just want to
absolutely.
hear, I just
I'm
want
I'm
to.
just if we're making more
No,
work,
well-
and it's gonna have an additional impact
I
later
would
on.
think that.
I just want to make sure we have the staff and the, we're putting in we've been doing a lot of moving in the computer world with IT, and that's fantastic.
I agree, we'll send a memo to
I'd like-
DA Tandy, we have 2 members of his office right here tonight, and they can convey it as well, and we'll look forward to hearing from him before the audit meeting.
Thank you, Chairman.
Okay. Any other questions? I just need to, I don't know.
Do we partner with our municipal law enforcement agencies with these? Are they able to utilize these at all? Like if in need for an investigation is, I know like the highway department shares sweepers or, water trucks. If a town highway department doesn't have that equipment, we have a shared service agreement. There's a big initiative for that on the state level.
So we, by and large, do the narcotic investigations for all the departments in this county except for the state police. We accept those calls. We get calls, we'll then do it, we'll share it. We generally don't give them
The equipment.
the equipment, but we'll go in and do their narcotic case or whatever they want. We work with and support all the agencies. We will lend some equipment that is something that they can use and need. For example, we put up cameras sometimes to do speed surveys all the time. Now, I believe Carmel has their own, but if they wanted one of those, we could mount that and give them the data off that. So we do share. We wouldn't really be giving them the polls and things we're talking about here. We
Right.
would come out and do it for them or do it with them.
Yeah, that's great. And like, so if there was a narcotics arrest in the village of Cold Spring, they would call you in to do that investigation? I think that's what happens usually.
If they make the initial arrest, we get a call and we handle the processing and the evidence and all the rest. They would be calling us right up front as it's occurring.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Any other questions or comments pertaining to agenda item number 8? There being none, I'd like to make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 9. To approve the budgetary number 248057, additional revenue for the sheriff's response team. This is incoming money in the amount of $15,709 for calls. Pretty straightforward. Any questions or comments? Legislator Crowley?
So this new fund transfer requested, 24A057, is increasing the outside services OT line by $15,709. Nor the voucher sent to finances for $27,708.74 for additional.
I had the same
So,
exact
yes.
question, so
So-
I think Michelle can answer that for us.
Okay, can I finish it?
Yeah.
So the 11,000, for an additional 11,999.74, the transfer discussed at the April meeting was transferred at 24A030 in the amount of $42,156 for rescue equipment. So that's another $27,708 and a grand total of $69,864 from the grant. So,
So, these are different grants. They have 3-year life cycles, and they're not dead until you've used the money. You can even extend it into a 4th year by requesting. What we're talking about here today is evidence, was first quarter billing for SRT-related expenses. It was submitted to the state, they've reviewed it, they've signed off that it was appropriate use, and they have sent a check back to the county. In the past, we generally did those filings in October, late, and money came back, but it really was towards the end of the year. This was done this year, so we could get that in, get it reviewed, and get some funds returned, knowing we had more training
going on this year with the SRT than we had expected. So it is state money that has been sitting in the 22-year grant, not used yet, that has come in and partially supported some of the SRT training we've done thus far.
So with that, sorry, through the chair.
Well, the request before us tonight is not the other things that you're speaking about. It's for overtime and FICA in the amount of $15,709. So any questions related to this agenda item? There being none, I'd like to make a motion to give this
I have a question.
pertaining to this, not the other grants.
Pertaining
and-
to, they're all SHIP grants. They're SHIP grants that
They're
are.
different though. is what
They're
was said.
different, but we still have outstanding balances that we owe that we've not paid. I don't understand why this is such a
That is not relative to
problem.
what we're
It is,
requesting tonight.
we're spending money that we still haven't paid for a team that is
Okay.
brand new and ERT still exists and it's different. And we're taking money out of a grant that was written completely different for something completely different for New York State. And we're taking away from, we're disenfranchising other departments and essentially defunding other departments.
We
And
are
I find it to
looking-
be atrocious.
Okay, legislative Crowley, we're looking tonight for call-outs in the amount of $15,709 for overtime and FICA. That is the only consideration on the table this evening. I'd make a motion to move it forward. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 10. Is the approval of a grant application, FY 204 Emergency Management Performance Grant. We have with us here Deputy Commissioner Ralph Balloon. Hello.
Hello.
So this is a emergency management grant application that is due on June 11th. So we're a little past the deadline.
It's in.
But how does that work?
So it's the usual reoccurring, so whatever reason the state and their infinite wisdom was behind, so they put them out on short notices and we struggle to get them in.
This is in the amount of $39,382, which is 50% matching funds are required and will be used to offset salaries. Would you like to get to that?
We usually use this towards the commissioner's salary. This is what has been in the past.
Any questions about the request for application? Okay. There being none, I'd like to make a motion to move this forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Agenda item number 11 is an FYI grant application, FY 2024 State Homeland Security Program. Do you want to speak to that?
Just the usual, it comes out every year. We don't know how much it would be, but we apply anyway. I think the year before was 234, 731. So that's what we're hoping that we'll also receive.
With the intent to utilize this funding for equipment and supplies.
Yeah, so
And support
this is
maintenance.
also 35% of this goes towards the law enforcement. So we're
Okay.
using it for the TAM, the assessment, EMS supplies.
This is just an FYI, no action is required. Moving on to agenda item number 12 is also an FYI grant application for domestic terrorism prevention grant. There's no matching funds for the self-descriptive. Anything else you'd like to add?
Last year it was 172,000. So we'll hope for at least that.
Okay, good luck. All right. There being no other business, I'd like to extend a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.